Good morning, my dear students. I hope all of you are sound and safe. Welcome to our English lesson, and this time we are going to do reading comprehension. We are going to study how can you read a complex paragraph. Do you remember? You have done this activity before. You have already read many different paragraphs, many different passages, and you already know how to answer the question given after the comprehension. But today we are going to discuss a very important part of reading. That is, how can you identify the main idea of a story or a paragraph or a passage when you are reading a text. What is main idea? What do you mean by main idea? The central point. The main idea is the central point an author is trying to make. So whatever the writer is trying to tell us, that is called the main idea of the story or of the passage. The main idea of a story is the most important thing the author is trying to tell the reader. Usually, the main idea of the story is made up of the main character or characters, the problem they are trying to solve, and what they try on the way. Understanding how to identify the main idea of the story is a big step on the way to become a good reader. Here are some tips on how to do it. So, as you can see, whenever you start reading a story, you come across the characters in the story. You also identify that the story has a problem in it. It can be any problem, it can be a simple one, or it can be a difficult situation. Then there is a complete process, a complete procedure in which the characters try to solve that conflict, try to solve the mystery in the story. So when you are reading the whole story, your main task is to find the central idea given by the author. How can we do it? Let us continue reading. First of all, you should read carefully. This is the most important step. Whenever you are reading, you have to read with full focus. Don't rush through reading. Pay attention to any titles. Now, do you remember titles and headings? Yes, whenever we are reading any story in our textbook, in our journeys textbook, you can see that there are titles, there are headings, and then there are subheadings. You should always pay attention to these titles. These titles can give you a rough idea about what you are going to read in that paragraph. Once you have carefully read your story, read through it again. So, if you think that you have missed something or something is not clear, you can read it again. This time, you may want to have a pencil and paper ready to take a few notes on the plot of the story. So, I know some of you might need to note down few notes about the story, and it is a normal thing, you can say. Some of us cannot keep everything in our mind at the same time, so there is no harm in keeping a pencil and a paper with you in order to write down the important points. Once you have done this, once you have read the story thoroughly, try to find characters, problem, and action. Now, do you remember the story Mr. Tennant's Tie Trouble? In that, you know there are many characters. And who is the main character? Mr. Tennant. So now, let us read. Most of the time, there won't be one specific sentence in the story that spells out the main idea. On your paper, write down who you think the main character or characters are. Then write down what the problem of the story is. Like in Mr. Tennant's Tie Trouble, you know the problem was they needed to save the playground because it was going to close down. A problem doesn't have to be something major, like a fight. It could simply be getting to school on time or going out for an ice cream. when the characters have a goal but there are obstacles in their way. That is the problem of the story. Finally, write down the actions those characters take to reach their goal. So in Mr. Tannen, you know, what were the obstacles? They didn't have enough money. And what did they do? Mr. Tannen, he thought of an idea. He made an auction and sold all his ties to raise the money for the playground. So in this way you can see you have to read carefully, pick the character who is the main character, identify him, then you have to identify the problem in the story, and then you have to see what actions the characters are taking to solve that problem so that the story can come to an end. Now, write your main idea sentence. The main idea is the main characters plus their goal plus what they do to get there. So write a sentence that combines those things. If you have time, read the story again with your main idea sentence in mind to make sure that it is indeed the most important part. So now you can recall different stories which you have read in your journeys textbook, or maybe the stories which you have read other than your school books, and try to remember their main ideas, their characters, the conflict in the story, and how did the conflict got resolved. Remember, if you can identify the main idea, if you can get what is the main idea of the story, it means you are a good reader. Now let us quickly see this short passage. Read the story, write the main idea in the center box of the story web, write one detail in each of the other boxes. So it's a very short story. Jake has his birthday party today. His pals come to his house. They bring Jake gifts. Jack and his pals wear party hats. They eat cake. They play games. They all have fun at the party. So now in this activity you have to write the main idea. You have to find out what is the central idea of this story. So they have asked us to write the details, and then they have asked us to write the main idea. So I have done this for you. I have written the details, the 4 details in the 4 corners, and I have even written the main idea. If you want to try it yourself, excellent, go ahead. If you want to match the answers, you can match them. And if you don't want to try and just see what I have written, no problem, go ahead. See, in the first detail, I picked whatever I have written, I have picked from the story. The first detail, Jake's friends came to his house. Then Jake's friend brought gifts for him. Jack and his friends wore hats. They ate cake and played games. So the central idea, what I understand from this story is, Jake and his friends had a lot of fun at his birthday party. So now I want you to try this another story. Read the story, then write the main idea in the middle box. Write one detail in each of the other boxes. So let me read it for you. It is the first day of school. Ellie is very excited. She takes her new backpack and lunchbox to school. She is happy to see her friends in the classroom. The students like their teacher. Everyone has a good first day of school. So here you have to write the details. They should be from the story. You can use your own wordings. And then you have to identify the main idea, the central theme, and write it in the middle. Please try to do it yourself. I am sure that you can get the main idea easily. You can copy this text in your notebook, and then you can write the details and the main idea in your notebook. I think it would be a better idea and it would be more easy for you in this way. Now, with this we come to an end of today's topic. After this, I just want you to revise Unit 5, Lesson 25. I have written sentences for you like we used to write in our classroom. I want you to copy because you have Saturday and Sunday. So in the weekend, please write these sentences in your note copy. You can choose any 5. If you don't want to write all the 8, it is up to you. Write these sentences in your notebook and I want you to try to make your own sentences. You can choose any 3 words and make your own easy sentences. Grain, the bird is eating a grain of rice. Pot, the pot protects the peas. Soak the rice in cold water. Soften the onions in the butter for 5 minutes. Root, a root grows downwards into the soil. Shoot, a shoot grows towards the sunlight. Nutrition, plants get the nutrition from the soil. And the last one, tasty. This cake is very tasty. So, write these sentences in your notebook and try to make your own sentences. Once you have done that, please learn these dictation words. Please read them, write them down in your notebook. Try to recall their meanings and try to learn their spellings. Grain, pod, soak, soften, root, shoot, nutrition, tasty. And I know for most of you, these words are a piece of cake. They are very easy. I have again added the pictures here so that in case you have forgotten any meaning for any of this word, you can recall. Best of luck with your homework. I'll see you in my next lesson. Till then, take good care of yourself. Bye from me.